Okay, so have you ever been head over heels, like totally smitten, with someone who's already taken?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of unrequited
It's
love.
like a punch to the gut, right?
Yeah.
And it turns out we're not alone. Like whopping 60% of people have been there.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah. So today we're doing a deep dive on this, all about what it means to love someone else's, well, soulmate.
Interesting.
We're going deep into this podcast transcript we found, unpacking all the messy emotions, the jealousy, the longing, and even the moral dilemmas that come up when, well, your heart wants what it can't have.
It's so true. And what I find so interesting is that even though it's incredibly common, when it's happening to you, it feels so isolating.
Right, like it's only you.
Yeah, and there's this weird shame that can come with it, as if your feelings are somehow wrong or something.
Totally. You're like stuck in this weird in-between space where, yeah, you're happy for them, you should be happy for them, but at the same time, there's this part of you that's just hurting. The transcript we're looking at today actually called it and I love this description, a constant state of emotional turmoil.
It's so accurate.
Have you ever felt that pull towards someone who's attached where you just can't shake it?
Absolutely. And I think it's just this like fundamental part of the human experience. It's
Yeah.
like we're wired for connection, right?
Yeah.
And the reason it hurts so much, psychologically speaking, is because when we experience unrequited love, our attachment system is basically freaking out. We crave that reciprocation, that feeling of being chosen. And when it's not there, it can trigger all these feelings of rejection and inadequacy.
Which makes total sense, and I imagine it's even more intense. Those feelings, when you really truly believe that this person is, like the transcript says, your soulmate.
Oh, absolutely.
Start comparing yourself to their partner, like, what do they have that I don't?
Exactly. And that is a very slippery slope because you can so easily get caught in that cycle of comparison and self-criticism, which only makes you feel worse.
Right, it's like a downward spiral.
Totally.
Totally, it's like your brain is on this loop.
Yeah, like a broken record.
What if I did this? Or what if they just realized we were, meant to be?
Right.
And it's all fantasy, but it's so hard to turn off those what ifs.
It really is. And, this is where understanding your attachment style can be super helpful.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because for those who lean towards anxious attachment, for example,
Okay.
this whole situation, it just magnifies everything.
Yeah.
Like the fear of rejection, it's amplified, and they might find themselves clinging even tighter to the hope of a different outcome, even though.
Yeah, so how do we break free from that?
Right.
Especially when it feels so all-consuming.
Right.
The transcript mentions jealousy, like as a natural response, which, okay, fine. Sure. But where's the line? When does acknowledging those feelings turn into letting them just control you?
That is the million-dollar question. And I think, like most things in life, it comes down to balance, right?
Okay.
It's about recognizing that jealousy, while not fun,
Yeah.
it's a normal human emotion. It's often
Yeah.
a sign that we care deeply about something, which in this case, is the possibility of a connection with this person.
So then instead of trying to, like, I don't know, just shove it down and pretend it's not there,
Yeah.
the source material actually talks about shifting the focus, turning it inward.
Yes.
It talks about self-care, like really nurturing your passions and interests.
I love that because when we focus on our own growth, our own well-being, we become more resilient.
Okay.
Not only to, those painful emotions, but we also become more attractive partners in the long run.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. Would you rather be with someone who's consumed by jealousy or someone who radiates confidence and self-assurance?
Yeah, it's not about changing who you are, but just being like the best version.
Exactly. And this is where the source material brings in a really compelling story.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the hosts, they call her Lady T.
Okay.
She shares her own story about loving someone else's soulmate, and she describes this magnetic pull she felt towards this guy. Like he ticked all her boxes, kind, funny, charming.
It's like you could see the potential, right? But it's just
Right, but there's a
had it reach.
Exactly. He was with someone.
Oh, man.
And what I loved about her story was how she described it as, and this is such a good line, being on the edge of something beautiful but unattainable.
Which I think really captures that inner turmoil.
Oh, yeah, perfectly.
Like you want it so bad, but,
And it's in that space, that uncomfortable tension, where we actually have the opportunity for huge growth.
Because let's be real, if you keep going down that road, investing in something that just can't be,
It's gonna hurt.
it's going to be bad.
Yeah, so that's where self-preservation comes in, right?
Right. Like you have to choose you.
You have to.
And it's not just about being respectful of their relationship, but it's about recognizing your own worth. Like, I deserve better than to be someone's what if.
Absolutely. You are not a backup plan.
Not a backup plan. Yeah. And it's hard though, right? Like we have to be the ones that choose ourselves, even when it hurts,
Well, that's hard.
to walk away from something, from someone that you feel so strongly for.
It takes a lot of strength
It
to
does.
step back from that kind of situation.
To choose your well-being over the, I don't know, the fantasy of what could be.
Yeah, and you know what I think is so powerful about Lady T's story is that like she did choose herself.
You walked away.
She did. She recognized that holding on to this love, it would only cause her more pain in the long run.
Yeah, like ripping off a Band-Aid, just do it fast.
Right, exactly. Like choosing to heal an old wound instead of constantly, reopening it.
Ouch.
It's not easy by any means, but it is the path
That's the way to go.
to true emotional freedom. Yeah, and what I find so fascinating is that even in letting go, like even in that act of walking away, there's still love there.
Really?
Yeah, it's a different kind of love.
Okay.
It's acknowledging that, like, loving someone, it doesn't always mean being with them.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes it means wanting their happiness, even if it's not, with you.
Wow. That's a really good point. And it makes me think about this whole thing, this whole like unrequited love thing differently.
Yeah.
Because we always focus on the romantic aspect of love. Right.
Of course.
But there's like so much more to it.
So much more.
And maybe this experience, painful as it is, it's like a crash course in all these different facets of love, self-love, acceptance, letting go, all of that.
I love that it's like this difficult experience becomes this unexpected teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening who might be, going through this right now, what would you say to them? What have we learned today that might offer them some comfort or guidance?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would say first and foremost, be kind to yourself. Okay? Like this is a universal experience. You are not alone in feeling this way. Don't judge yourself for the jealousy, for the longing, for the what ifs.
Yeah.
It's all part of being human. It really is. And remember, your worth, it's not tied to someone else's feelings. Okay.
Right.
You are worthy of love and connection just as you are. And finally, allow yourself to, grieve the relationship that could have been, but don't get stuck there.
Yeah, don't dwell.
Because this, even though it's heartbreaking, it can be a catalyst for incredible growth, but you have to let it.
You have to let it. I love that. Those are such wise words. So it's a good reminder that even in all the messiness and the heartache of unrequited love, there's always, always hope for healing and for growth and ultimately for finding a love that, well, chooses you right back.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's our deep dive for today.